some might say it might not just be a coincidence. Maybe because today is the International Mother Earth Day. That's why the rain has decided to bless us on today. I'm not totally sure, but I just feel like the universe is also recognizing how important today's date is. On the big question this morning, we're talking protect the earth, protect the woman. Joined in this morning by Miriam Lawani, the founder for Green Hill Recycling, and also Adewale Adigboyega, Executive Director for Waste Aid Nigeria. Good morning. Thank you both for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's a good opportunity to speak with us here in the studio on this very important conversation. So the 22nd of April every year has been specially dedicated to talk about the earth. And the theme for this year is actually rescue the earth, restore the earth, And when I heard about it, I was really trying to find out about, there used to be this BBC journalist who does this travel documentaries of different places. And he actually had a book which it was like a testimony against the people or what we have done to planet Earth, and the kind of Earth that existed 30, 50 ago to the Earth that exists now. We have better picture quality, but the richness of the Earth as at then can be compared to what we have now. We had more than now. So let me start off with Miriam this morning as Green Hill Recycling, which we're going to also look at that area too. But when we talk about protect the earth and protect the woman, what comes to mind?
When we talk about protecting the earth and protecting the woman, if you think about it, yes, urbanization has gotten us to the point where we are now. When you talk about how rich the earth used to be prior to this time, several decades ago. But when you really think about it, women are more vulnerable, right, to the lack of that richness. Women are more vulnerable to the impact of climate change. Women are more vulnerable to environmental degradation. You would want to maybe tie that to the fact that there are issues around inequality, between men and women. And so it puts women in a more vulnerable situation. So if we are all protecting the earth, invariably we're protecting the woman, right? So
that's a very key point you have leveraged on this morning. Let me come to my other guests here and talk about climate change and environmental degradation, which represents a great threat to to poverty reduction that we are facing in the country. Because I really want us to streamline the conversation of this protect the earth, protect the woman to specifically Nigeria. We are in a major crisis. There is high inflation, which is recorded at 18.17% by the NBS report for March. And some people even believe that report is not even correct. Some people fault the number. How much damage have we done?
A lot of damage has been done. And for instance, now that it is raining, you see a lot of people houses are flooded and so on. Of this flooding, we are the cause. Most people, instead of them to dispose of their waste, probably what they do is, anytime it is raining, that's when they remember to bring out their waste. Now, the rain will wash it away. But where is the rain washing it to? And if you look at a place like Lagos that is below sea level, anytime it rains is always a problem. So, and this is a natural phenomenon. The water has to flow. Once you block the drainage, no way you are going to see the impact. And at the same time, too, when we talk of women, especially, they want to cook, they need firewood. A lot of them, especially those in the rural area, we need firewood, we need to cook. So the best thing they can do is go to the forest there, cut down the trees and cook. And at the same time, we're talking about development. We want to build estates, or we want to build an Atlantic city and so on. And before you know it, you start cutting down the trees. And these trees, they have a lot of benefits. And I keep on giving a very good example. On a very sunny day, if you go any on that tree, in fact, by the time you sit under that tree, you won't know where you're going to sleep off because of the fresh air coming. So you can imagine a world without a tree. And we give out a lot of gases coming out every day. Anytime, immediately NEPA strike, the first thing you do is run to your generator, immediately run the gen. Where are all those emissions going to? Now, we want to live in an Atlantic city. We want to build an estate before it starts and filling. But do you know that this water body, they give out oxygen in just the way the trees too. So you can imagine by the time you fill all the waters, all in the name of economic benefits, we want to build a rising estate, we want to build a state, we need to cut down all the trees because we want to develop, we want economic development, but we are not looking at the negative impact of it. And by the time the negative impacts come, we are even going to spend more than what we are trying to build there. So, and I remember some years ago in Lagos, that in fact, the whole Lagos was almost underwater, just one single rainfall, all because the drainages has been blocked. We are not planting share anymore. All the waterways has been blocked in the name of development and so on.
Yes.
But we need to start looking of how do we restore these thing back. So that's why I see every year now, we talk of tree planting. Now that the rainy season is closer, I see a lot of people now trying to clear the drainages. And in most cases, you don't even have to wait for the government.
Yes.
Because everybody believes everything is government. Government cannot go from each individual houses to start clearing their drainages for them. You need to play your own part, while government to play their own part.
Okay.
So we all have a responsibility. There's a lot we need to do. Even when it comes to manufacturing, the manufacturer needs to start redesigning. Because you want to restore the air, so you need to start redesigning. Then even when you use water, you need to utilize water. A lot of people, they want to brush, they leave the tap open while brushing, wasting water. So you need to look at that also.
You're guilty, I guess.
Yeah. So once you leave your tap open, all in the name of
several
brushing,
things.
you are wasting water. You need to start utilizing, then redesigning. Then people need to start looking at degradable items. Then we do less with plastics. In fact, if I tell you the figure, the total plastic production in Nigeria on annual basis is about 5 billion plastic every year.
In Nigeria.
So in the last 10 years, calculate that 5 billion bottles every. Where did they go to? And the total collection is just 30%. Where are the remaining 70%? Now, this little rainfall now, go to any drainage now, see them floating.
So on your way, even coming, you saw those on the road.
Yeah, you see a lot of plastics floating there and there. So the producer needs to start looking inward.
Okay.
Then that's where the issue of extended producer responsibility. The producers too must take responsibility. Then redesign. We need to start redesigning. Okay. If you want to restore the air, you need to start redesigning some of what you know. For instance, now you want to buy a phone. The phone is in a nylon, is a styrofoam, is a carton, and all you want is just a small phone. But you see the packaging, you want the design and so on. So we need so for us to restore back the earth, a lot needs to be done.
We have a long way to go, but let me come to Miriam. Women are largely affected by a lot of these problems that we face in our world today, and that's why the conversation around protecting the earth to also protect the women is a very important one. And the International Day says restore the earth. For women in particular, what are some of the things that we need to begin to correct in the society right now to better protect the woman?
Right. So it's a collective effort, right? The women and men and children and everybody together. Like Mr. Taiwo has highlighted some of the challenges. There are diverse. When we talk about protecting the earth, it's not only it should be like a lifestyle, right?
Okay.
It's sustainability should be part of our lifestyle. It should be ingrained in everything that we do.
Okay.
I saw you exclaim now when we talked about leaving your tap on.
Yes.
It's as little as turning off the light bulb if it's not in use. It's as little as ensuring that your tap isn't full when you're brushing your teeth or when you're having your bath. All those long songs we sing in the bathroom.
I'm thinking about that won't be excused.
No, it can. So you see, that's the thing, right? It's the little things. It's the little things collectively with the large things.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just only the things you see outside. People go as far as even ensuring the kinds of clothes that they wear, ensuring that those clothes, come from, they're produced via a sustainable. That might be, you might say, oh, that's a bit extreme. Am I going to look at the label of everything that I wear and
Apparently,
everything?
I saw a video recently of the process,
totally. Yes.
and I was like, amazing.
Yeah. So it's always been there, but it's always been there for years. Even locally here, there are companies who utilize these plastics that we collect, to generate polyester fiber, which are used in the garment industry or used for your mattresses and your what's it called? Your pillows, right?
Even with
so there are there's a diverse range, right? So what are the things we need to start doing? We need to start paying attention.
Okay.
We need to start taking responsibility, taking ownership. People don't feel like they should do anything about the environment if there is nothing in it for them. It's amazing. I don't want to use the word crazy, right? Because they don't seem to see the immediate impact in their space, in that little tiny space.
Yes.
And so they forget that even every day they get impacted in one way or the other in the larger space, right? If you feel, oh, my environment is tidy, it's neat, it's clean, it shouldn't be my business. Somebody else who lives in a swampy area, for example, should be more concerned. Hello? Yeah, I'm sorry, you're wrong, right? Because the impact affects everybody globally. As long as we're under this earth, we're under the sun, so we need to be more aware. And I think that's part of the reason why we're here today, right?
Yes.
Lending our voices, creating these platforms where we talk to people, we sensitize them, we educate them, we make them see the reasons why. Women, I mean, if permit my French, if Kasala boss here now, you guys would jackpot before me, right? But if you see what I mean? And so this is like a really small example to what happened on a large scale. When they say women are more impacted by droughts, by natural disasters and all these things, you feel they've come again. Women, everything. They have 5 days to celebrate women, only one for the men. It's not about that here. There are statistics and it's real. Women get more impacted. Women have to travel miles to get fuel, to get food for their family. They're naturally the caregivers, right? The nurturers. And so if all of these environmental impacts like droughts and unpredictable, weather conditions come up, they get impacted the most. Some females have to drop out of school just to, assist their mothers to cater to the family because they have to now travel longer miles to get food or get fuel. So it's everybody's problem, especially because everyone was born of a woman anyway. So it's whichever way we want to reason, it's emotionally, it's everybody's problem. And
27 minutes past 9 on Women Radio, WFM 91.7. This is the big question. We are talking in line with the International Mother Earth Day, which is to rescue, restore the earth. And we're talking particularly to protect the earth and also to protect the woman. I want us to highlight 3 basic of these issues which are peculiar to Nigeria. There is waste pollution, there is environmental or air pollution, and there is the conversation around recycling. So let me start with Adewale. Let's look at waste pollution right now, which is a major chunk of the issues we are having. Drainages are blocked, houses are flooded when it comes to the rain. We do not have the right. You already said that only 30% of these plastics are being recycled, and the figures are rising.
Like I told you, the issue of waste management is huge. But people are not looking at the economic aspect. For instance, now, Nigeria will generate about 100,000 tons of waste every day in Nigeria. Now, if you are to put monetary value on this 100,000 tons of waste, that's about 4 billion naira every day. Now, how do I arrive at the 4 billion naira? The 100,000 tons of waste every day, we're able to separate your plastic, you're able to separate your nylon, the organic, and so on, and put monetary value on it. That's about 4 billion naira every day. But this 4 billion naira is what we train to the drainages, train to do, and a lot of people will complain, I don't have work, I don't have employment, I don't have source of living. But every day you go on the road, you bypass the 4 billion naira. So how can people tap into that? And if you look at your normal house waste, what you have there is, if it's not paper, it's going to be plastic, it's going to be nylon, and every of these items are recyclables. Absolutely. There's a market for each of them. Even your food waste going to organic production, for compost. So you can see that every single item there are not really waste, but I call them resources, because there's always a demand for this every day. But I'm always surprised when you see people, even people driving in their car, immediately they finish drinking or they just throw it out. The other day I was talking to a driver, I said, if I don't throw it out of the window, how will those women get employed? The women that sweep on the road. That's why he has to throw it out, so that those women could be employed by sweeping the road. So you can see the mentality of Nigerian. So, but once people know there's a value attached to a single bottle or that plastic or nylon, then people will start picking that. And although a lot of states are, in fact, was it not last year that they have to sign the National Policy on Waste Management?
Okay.
And with this policy now, it gives a lot of opportunity to investors, a lot of states to come in, and states have started domesticating this. For instance, if you look at Lagos State now, we have the Lagos State Waste Management Authority. They are, in fact, they pay more attention on recycling now. They are trying to say, how can we reduce this volume of waste? And the reduction has to start from source, which is from the household. You don't have to wait until the waste get to the dump site before it starts sorting. You need to start from your household. And now the state that generates about 10 to 14,000 tons of every day. But if every single household can start getting that way, and don't be surprised that the whole waste will be reduced to maybe 5,000 tons. And like I keep on saying, the time we come, the PSP truck will drive around and they won't send any waste to pick, because every single household must have separated that way, and they know there's a value attached to it. And even by the time the PSP comes, say, look, I don't have waste, what are our resources? And start negotiating. Do you want to buy my plastic? Do you want to buy my nylon? But the issue has to do with awareness. Not a lot of people are aware. And like we told you, we are companies today with just 7 plastic bottles. They're able to produce jerseys. Most of these football jerseys you put on.
Yes.
There's even a lady in Nigeria today that produces shoe, clothes from pure water sachets. And this is what people just drink and throw away. Those black nylon bags you use in packing your waste is from the pure water sachet. Yeah. Your spoon, your roofing sheet is from those aluminum cans. Then the same thing with the glass. So why do we throw this away? And people complain, oh, I don't have work, or I don't have money. But every day, you can imagine 4 billion naira every single day from 100,000 tons of waste generated. But yet, they find their way into the drainage. And most of them, especially the plastic and nylon, they don't decay. Yes. They can remain there for the next 400 years. They only break down, but they don't decay. And people keep on blaming the government. Oh, the government. But is it the government that consume the plastic and throw them away? Okay. So the awareness has to be there. Once people know there's a value in this waste,
yes,
then it's no longer a waste, but resources.
All right. Let me come to Miriam. Let's talk about Green Hill Recycling right now. What is the focus of Green Hill Recycling with regards to, enlightening the people on, the need for us to see the need for recycling? Because he mentioned something very key, which is separation of waste
from source.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people do. I personally, I have been collecting, although I want to film it. That's why I have not done it. I've been collecting plastic and bottles. I've just been keeping them. I have like a full big rice sack filled with plastic. I just want to film the whole process of when it's going to get to where I'm going to exchange it for whatever amount. I just want to have the experience. But what is Green Hill? How can we use your platform, or what is the platform doing to enlighten more people on the need for recycling?
So like Mr. Taiwo has highlighted, waste is not waste. It's just resource in motion. I'd like to add that part. It's resource moving from one place to another. Are you able to identify it? Are you able to take advantage of it?
Okay.
So Green Hill Recycling is addressing 3 basic issues: poverty, unemployment, and climate change, right? Using waste as a currency to exchange value. So we have identified that, this can actually be a form of exchange, just the way we had cowries, right, in the past, being used to exchange value, and it progressed over time. So we're seeing now that waste can be that type or kinds of currency. So what we do in Green Hill Recycling, first, we do a lot of sensitization, advocacy, awareness. This is one of such channels, talk to people. We also go on the streets. We do a lot of street campaigns, get out a lot of volunteers. People come up and say, you know what, I'm passionate about sustaining the environment. I'm passionate about climate action. I want to come on board. And this is a call as well to more volunteers to come on board. So we go out, we talk to people, we create the awareness, because a lot of people do not know. And then what we have, because uniquely to our country, Nigeria, our dear Nigeria, like I highlighted at the beginning, people don't want to do anything except there's something in it for them. So we came up with this incentive scheme where you can potentially exchange different streams of recyclable waste, especially plastic, but not limited to plastics alone. Your aluminum cans, your cartons, your water sachet. I see that feeling a lot when we say we collect water sachet. They're like, because it will never cross anybody's mind that water sachets are useful, like there's anything to do with them. But you would be blown away by the several end products that can, be gotten from water sachet. Anyway, so we collect these recyclable items from your doorstep, right? Because when people say, "Oh, why can't you just gather everything and let them go and do the sorting and separation?" People think it's work. I mean, I've had conversations with people and they say, "I know, give me extra work. What thing you go pay me? I go they sort separate waste. No, I beg." You hear all sorts, right? So, but to encourage the people who are actually willing to practice that to imbibe the culture of recycling, we give incentives. Incentives can range from recharge card all the way to household appliances. I mean, in December, some people got blenders, some people got sets of cooking pots, some people got, groceries, food items, bag of rice, all the way to even electronic appliances, laptops, your phones. It all depends on. So when we come to you, we pick up from you, we ask you to please separate your recyclable waste, especially the non-degradable waste, separately from your food or organic waste. We come to you, we pick up these recyclable waste, we weigh them, right? And then we give you points. We call them green points. Whatever the weight is, we equate it to certain points. And we have a brochure where you can see where the different points exactly. Points, what item of value is attached to the different points. And then you have some people say, "Oh, you know what? I don't even want anything on this brochure. I want to start up a business." So we've had people who actually, from the money they've gotten from recycling, either their own waste or the waste around their environment, I've been able to set up micro businesses, right? Whether it's getting a grinding machine and you're, grinding something for people, and it's a sustainable source of income. Or people will use the funds to provide school supplies or pay school fees of children. So that's why we say it's a currency to exchange value.
Okay.
So we do a lot of advocacy, a lot of sensitization. We know that there is still a lot more to be done.
Okay.
And that's why we leverage all sorts of platforms to educate people and say to them, you know what, you can potentially derive value from your waste.
Let's talk about the government in a moment, because from all you have said, this is from your standing point, what you have been able to do. How much effort is the government putting in enlightening the people on the impact of recycling and what it would have on Nigeria or even our environment? How much effort is the
government? I keep on using Lagos State as an example. If you go to unit, and this unit is to make sure to encourage people to sort, even to encourage the recyclers, because we have a lot of challenges when it comes to statistics, but they are doing everything possible. And the latest Lagos State did now was to even introduce an app, just like your Uber. You can sit in your house, order for your waste to be picked up. Introduction of IT into waste management. You don't need to start looking for transport. Where do I transport this? You just pick your mobile phone, go to the app and download and request for pickup. And before you say knock on your door, or requested for pickup. So Lagos State is trying, but if you look at other states too, they are trying everything possible to see how they could come in, because they know, one, they could generate revenue. And again, apart from generating revenue, these are raw materials for industries. So instead of looking for foreign exchange to import virgin product, you have them locally. Like I told you, the plastic alone, you have your polyester fiber, you do your mattress, your pillow. Even the Chinese and the women weaver is produced from those plastic bottles. And even from the plastic bottle, the cover alone is another raw material entirely for the production of your plastic hanger, buckets, and so on. So these are sources of raw material. And governments look that we need to reduce the amount of waste going to the dump site or the landfill, because very soon, once those landfill are filled, nobody wants them to come and build a dump site at the back of the house. So we need to look for a way of reducing the volume of waste going out. So government is doing a lot. And also have what we call the Lagos State plastic policy.
Okay.
And apart from that, also the federal government, we have the federal plastic waste policy also. Then we have what we call the EPR, extended producer responsibility. So these are policies being put in place by government to make sure it's not only the government, even the producer. What is the role of the producer? Do you just produce, people consume your products and trade away? But the funnest is that every single bottle or nylon you pick, you always see a sign on it. Recycle, or
dispose correctly.
But the question is, if you just finish drinking maybe a sachet water and I call the company, I just finished drinking water, I saw a sign, where do I recycle? How many of them have such information? Their own is just we push out, they produce. And I told you, imagine 5 billion bottles. In January, I was in a factory in Kano where they said they produce 144,000 bottles of water every single day. So you can imagine 144,000 bottles every day, bottled water.
And that's just one.
That's just one company.
And not
yes,
the major ones.
Not the major ones. So you can imagine. But the government is doing everything possible to make sure we have policy. But another thing is implementation of the policy, because we have, like the EPR that has been there for the past 8 years. How many companies are part of the alliance? What are the companies doing to make sure, yes, we get this back from the environment? So once you talk of government policy, we also need to look at the implementation. The implementation. Government really implementing, and we have so many agencies. We have Loma, we have LASEPA, we have NESRA, so many of them. But the problem is implementation. Because if there's full implementation, it will be hard for you to see plastic floating in the drainage.
All right. 19 minutes to 10 on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Let's talk about environmental pollution. This is another big aspect in which we're talking with regards to protecting the air. What can we do differently? The environment is highly polluted. When COVID started, one of the major issues I had with COVID is the fact that the environment is already polluted, and now we have no choice but to put on masks, right? How then do we survive? I particularly restricted my movement because I already understand how it's difficult even without the masks, and now you have to force me to wear one to actually go out and interact with people. So what can we do to improve the environment? Because the environmental pollution is hitting really hard on women, importantly.
Yeah, so there are several things. We can plant trees. They said the trees are the lungs of the earth, right? I think one of the focus actually for this year's Earth Day is to actually look at natural sources to replenish quickly, to address the issue of climate change. And one of the major ones is planting of trees, right? Yes, we want to be urban. We have been urban. I mean, it would be very difficult for us to go back to the way it used to be right now. But we found ourselves in this situation. What can we then do? You see people planting trees and people look at them like they are aliens. Like, what are you doing? They're making so much noise on social media because you are planting trees. Do you understand? So these are lifetime investments, if you permit me to say.
Yes.
People plant trees, do things that look within yourself, assess yourself. How sustainable ability. Let's even start from there. Do you understand? How much do your children know about sustainability? How are you able to pass the message? Do you preach it? Do you share that message with everybody that comes around you? Or are you too ashamed to say, they will say my own is too much, or I've started again? It's in the little things and in the big things. Can you walk instead of driving, right? Can you just try when you want to go down your road to go and get something from the mall or the shop down your street? Can you just try walking instead? Yes, we know that there is a lot of pollution in the air already. I mean, in Port Harcourt, let's not even go there. The amount of, but the trees can potentially suck up these things. So let us start thinking about restore. Truly, when we say restore, when you're restoring something, it means something has been spoiled, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You are trying to refix it. So let us look at these, ways. Let us stop wasting before you throw something away. And it's not because I deal with plastics. It's not just plastics. Anything. Before you throw it away, ask yourself, could there be any other use for this thing? Is there a better way I can dispose of this thing? And so I have peace of mind to be sure that it ends in a place that doesn't hurt me or hurt the environment or hurt my children in future. When we talk about sustainability, we're talking about protecting the world, isn't it? For ourselves and the future generation. So all these people driving in 4x4s and throwing things out, they don't care about their children, because if they did, they won't do that. So it's in a lot of different ways, but we start by asking ourselves the question, how sustainable am I truly? What are the ways that what are the things I can actually change today in my lifestyle? Is there space? Do I have to do interlocking tiles everywhere in my house, or can I leave a little space to plant trees? I grew up, a lot of us are guilty of that. I grew up in an environment where I could count. We had mango tree. We had several species. That one that doesn't go red, doesn't go yellow. The green one that's always green. Cherry mango. So we had like 3 different species. We had pineapples. We had grape, like those big grape. We had orange trees. That's the environment that we grew up in.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same environment I grew up in. At home, we had a mini farm in the house in my dad's.
Do you understand?
But let's look at some of the things that we are dealing with right now. You mentioned urbanization, which is a major challenge. The waters have been filled up to build new houses, modern houses, as we say. Where do we draw the line between sustaining the earth and urbanization?
Now, let me even come back to the issue. There was a study that was carried out during the COVID period. The pollution was a bit reduced because we have less vehicular movement, most factory working, so emission every day. So during that period, the emission level was low. In fact, some of the tests carried out, we found out the air you breathing was even cleaner then because no vehicular emission, no generator from factory and so on. But that is where the issue of renewable energy comes in. Now today, there's no single household you go to Nigeria today, you have a generator. Every single household in Nigeria, even factory, as you are building your factory, you are building your generator houses. So you find out that now, are we embracing the alternative, the solar? How many people can even afford that? Locally, even start building the panels locally. So because when you tell people, stop cutting down trees, what alternative do you have for me? Well, I have solar. How much is the solar? We'll stop using generator and buy solar. What is the cost of the solar and so on? So even the alternative, you are stop using plastic, use a degradable. What is the cost of the alternative? So we also need to look at the cost of the alternative. And now everybody will want urbanization, you want to develop. And I think, was it not in Lagos State now, there's even a policy now for your building plan to be approved. You have to dedicate 30% of the land for tree planting. 30%, yeah, because before it gets
followed, because I'm seeing a lot of these smart houses that are being done. I don't think that is being followed.
Exactly. So
back to implementation.
That's why the issue of implementation comes in, that before you even get a building approval, where are your green zone? Even a lot of road construction you want to expand, or even all the boulevard zone are being taken over, all the neighborhood development, let just Sandfield, and you see. But now, once rainy season is there, the people that live on the island, or I live in Ikoyi, I live in Banana Island, but when it is rainy season, that is when you know the difference.
The real landowners.
Exactly. Because this water is a natural, they have to flow. So the more you Sandfield, you are just look at the Babish today now, look at all the way they push the Babish. We want to build the Atlantic, but go through that channel all the way down to Epe, all the villages there that have been washed away, or because you push the water and water needs to flow. There's no way you can block or prevent the water. Water has to flow naturally, or in the name of we want to develop. But if you look at the cost, you're not going to spend at the end of the day, even spend stuff. Oh, this area is dedicated for a green zone. This area is dedicated for boulevard zone. Even I will be surprised very soon if you see people encroaching into the NCF there, which is a kind of green zone. Look at what about our wetland. Go to areas such as Jorana, building we want to build container terminal. There's traffic, people are complaining. So any little land is in the Sandfield, or because you want to get the container. But these are wetland that's supposed to absorb all this. So, but there's no way we can't escape.
From all that we have said this morning, are we actually going to be able to, because of the world is moving in a global speed. The speed is really fast. And you're talking about the wetlands, the oceans are being filled up already. Are we doing more? How do we avert this damage right now?
So that's why we have this kind of sensitization. You need to let people know.
Yeah.
That you let people know, because they say charity begin at home. Because even from your household, how did you dispose of the way? And I give a very good example. A lot of people today patronize those cart pushers. Have you ever taken time to ask, Malam, this way is where they give, where they carry and go? Nobody care. All that I know is my waste is gone. I have a very good example. Particular company that went to meet another company, we can dispose your waste for you. They collected this waste, they went to a community in Ogun State just to dump it on the floor, and somebody was able to trace it. That look, we saw your waste dump in one community in Ogun State, all the way from Lagos State. There's another company too that collected battery at night. They went to the water, dumped the batteries into the water. So all in the name of we want to gain, we can dispose of waste for you, pay us some amount of money. People that don't have approval, all in the name of quick money, but killing the environment.
Yeah, so I think that there has to be a balance. Yeah, we're moving at alarming speeds in terms of organization, but the same way there is much more global, if you permit me to say, global awareness now.
Yeah.
More leaders that truly care, are having these conversations more, and they're trying to look within. How sustainable are we? How are we actually going to this target of 23 or 2025 or 2050, So there has to be a balance. Some people, it might not even be just your zone. It might be on top of your high-rise building. There can be some green. You can plant things up there, right?
Yeah, what we call green buildings.
So it's in the balance. And then also the government side, it's in implementing. There are laws, there are written laws that should hold people culpable for these kinds of environmental crimes, if I will use that word. But who is holding them by the collar and saying you've committed a huge crime on humanity, on nature, on yourself, and you go down for it? Nobody.
All right, because of our time, we have about 3 more minutes before we call it a wrap, and I just want to get your final words on how what would be your words to people out there to really understand that this is a very important message, not just for now, but for the future. Let me start with Maria.
Okay, so I think my takeaway would be that by far, climate change is one of the most critical issue that we face right now as a globe. A lot of understanding still needs to be done. People don't get it, right? And people think that, it's a far away thing. But we need to act now. The time to act is now. Actually, it was yesterday. Okay. So if you're here now, you need to start taking action about mitigating climate change.
Thank you. All right. Adewale.
Yeah, thank you very much. What I have to say is we need to start taking care of our environment. If we don't take care of our environment, the environment will take care of us negatively.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking time to share your thoughts with us this morning. And it's really amazing work that you're doing. But let me just, how can people be part of the Green Hill Project and also of Waste Aid Nigeria? Is there maybe a social media handle that, because you said you have incentives, people like incentives.
Oh, yeah.
People want to know how they can go about the separation of waste. I remember we spoke, I think in 2019.
Yes.
That was a long time ago. And that's when I started. I was like, we have a lot of work. You spoke about the blue
box
in
Lagos.
Blue box
it's now called Lagos Recycle.
Lagos Recycle, that's what it's called now. And I'm still wondering how many people are actually following this blue box. Even when it was blue box, how many people were actually following? But let's find out, how can people actually, be part of Green Hill Recycling and be part of the project?
On social media, and you should start following us right now.
Yes.
So across all social media platforms, you can find us. On Instagram, we are at Green Hill Recycling, same thing as on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Green Hill Recycling as well. You can call us 081-211-00433. I'll take that again, 081-211-00433. You can call us, you can follow us across all social media platforms. You can check our website, ghrng.com. We cater to corporate organizations, to communities, to schools, because it's everybody, right? So we're out there. We plan to have a week-long awareness campaign. So we're calling out to volunteers. Please, if you are so passionate about this thing, join us, right? We intend to have it in the first week of May.
Okay.
Like one whole week. Go to the communities, to the grassroots, door by door, knock on their doors, talk to them, use public address systems, talk to them.
Amazing.
Because we understand that some of them might not be on social media and they might not have the opportunity to listen to Women FM.
Thank you very much. All right, Adewale, how can people be part of Waste Aid Nigeria? Because I also know that people are particularly concerned about waste. And one of the testimonies you shared the last time was the fact that somebody had been able to go to parties to pick up all these takeaway plates, and hit the millions?
Yeah, of course. We operate through what our organization called Recycle Point. So if you go on all social media, put Recycle Point. But generally, let me come to that of Lagos Recycle. If you go to Loma website today, we have over 40 registered recyclers in Lagos alone. So if you go to the website, you have
To
over
Loma's
40.
website.
Yes, and apart from that, I told you of the technology called Packham. It's just like your Uber. Just go to your Play Store, download Packham anywhere you are in Lagos.
Yes.
So any of those 40 recyclers can always attend to you. All you need to do is download it and request for pickup.
Thank you.
Wherever you are, they pick up from you.
All right. It's been an amazing time this morning talking protect the earth and protect the woman. And I've had Miriam Lawani, founder for Green Hill Recycling, and Adewale Adegboyega, executive director for Waste Aid Nigeria. Thank you for your time and thank you for coming in the rain.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
All right.
having us.
At 10 o'clock is Radio Doctor, your free health consultation radio program where real doctors advise real people. My name is Daniel Adaja. Good morning.
The woman's happy.
Everybody's happy.
To the happy circle.
WFM.
Cut the music.
91.7.
To sponsor this program, 080-90-582769.